Marketing That Works with Drew Bedard is a proud member of the Market Street Media Podcast Network. From their beautiful studio in downtown Johnson City, Market Street Media can help you create a podcast with no hassle. You don't have to fool with equipment. You don't have to fool with software. You don't have to worry about editing your podcast. Best of all, you don't have to worry about making embarrassing mistakes as you're trying to start your podcast. All you have to do is walk in, record your show, and walk out. Market Street Media does the rest. They'll even live stream your show to thousands of people on their Facebook page. Come see how fun and easy podcasting can be at Market Street Media. Find us online at marketstreet.media. That's marketstreet.media.
This episode of the Marketing That Works podcast is brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, period. Let me explain. It's what I make this podcast on. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm today to get started. I'm Drew Bedard, and this is Marketing That Works, a podcast about the tools, tips, and tactics that business owners and marketers need to wow their customers and grow their profits. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Marketing That Works podcast. Hope you're doing really well out there, and wanted to make sure I got on here today. I was kind of drawing a blank this week on what to talk about. I got some more great interviews coming up soon. And again, thank you all for sharing the episodes. The podcast is growing, and I can't say thank you enough. I really appreciate it. So the topic I wanted to talk about this week, and I've been battling with this, but I watched The Social Dilemma this past week. So if you haven't seen it yet and you have Netflix, The Social Dilemma is a new documentary on. It follows a few different characters inside of it, and actually it has some sort of dramatic element to it too, where it has some acting involved in it. But essentially, The Social Dilemma is a documentary on the ethics of what's been going on, the ethics and reality of what's been going on with social media the past 10 to 15 years, and what the social media companies, not just the social media companies, but the big tech firms, what they're doing, what the goals are, what their objectives are. It's hard to say what their goals and objectives are, because I really do think there was parts of the documentary. So I'm going to kind of go all over the place and just give you my raw thoughts on what it is and what I saw. First, I don't think that these companies set out to do evil, even though social media and the algorithms within the different social platforms are causing more divisiveness, or the ability to cause more divisiveness with the ad platform, and the ability for maybe outside entities like Russia in the 2016 election to be able to hack into our system and sort of manipulate people's minds into thinking certain ways. But I don't think that these platforms set out to do evil. I think most of them have set out to do good. And knowing that Google and Amazon and Facebook and Apple and most of these companies are incredibly philanthropic, and they use the platforms to spread messages when there's fires or there's an earthquake, that people are safe, or they help nonprofits raise money. But there's also a darker side to social media. There's a darker side to what is going on out there, and it's only, and this is the critical thing to remember, it's only if you let it manipulate your mind that it can be very, very dangerous. Now, the overwhelming thought inside of the documentary, or the overwhelming thesis, I would say, and proven to be fact, is that these products are incredibly addicting, almost like drugs. Drugs, alcohol, any sort of addiction that is out there, that these products have built themselves to be incredibly addictive, almost to the point of depression and suicide and all these different things, because this digital companion that we have with us is, and I'm guilty of it as well, we can become obsessed with it. And not only can we become obsessed with it, we can also become enraged by it. And it can, the salacious things that are on social media or being fed to us through the ad platforms, can manipulate our minds and can trick us and can get us thinking a certain way or have us going down a dark path. But I think that the hope, the bright light at the end of this tunnel is that not that these companies are going to stop, because they are being regulated more. They're still drastically unregulated. But the bright light, I want to go back to that. The bright light at the end of the tunnel is that you don't have to be manipulated by it. You don't have to be. You can use the platforms, as Russell Brunson says a lot of times, as a producer, not a consumer. You can utilize these platforms, especially as a person who's in social media. I have to have these things on my phone, but I do fall into the trap of using them for personal use probably way too often, using them to look at family photos and getting caught in the sort of swipe black hole that you can get and rabbit hole that you can go down. But I'm trying to get more in a habit. I've turned off some notifications due to the documentary, and I knew this before, but I've turned off some notifications so that it's not drawing attention. Because again, these social media platforms, understandably, they are businesses with stockholders, and they are trying to gain market share and they're trying to gain attention share from us. So they're going to continue to do what's in the best interest of their for-profit business. But that doesn't mean that we have to fall prey to everything that's out there trying to draw our attention. So again, I dropped off some notifications because I don't need to be looking at my phone all the time. But as a person who works in social media, I do need to be around it and adjacent to it because I need to see what's going on. I need to see what the trends are. I also need to be checking things because I'm the manager of a few different Facebook pages and a few different Instagram accounts and a few different Twitter accounts. So I need to be around it and I need to have it on my phone. But I almost do wish that there was the ability to erase them. But, I find social media as useful as the next person. But I do think, again, this overwhelming message of it is social media can be damaging, and it is in the world that we live in today, in the divisive political culture and the ability for people to spread fake news or a message of hate or anything like that, with relative quickness. Then social media has the ability to divide, but it also has the ability to unite. And it is up to us. It is up to us to make the choices that we need to make for our own family, for our own social media consumption. And that's the bright light. That is the hope that we have, is that as these companies grow, as they get bigger and they continue to try to make more profit, we have the choice. We have the choice whether to listen, whether to swipe, whether to respond with rage, or can we respond with love and hope and a brighter day? And and I'm not trying to be fluffy. I'm just trying to say there is a way that we can utilize these platforms, and we can utilize them for good, and also we can utilize them in a way that won't manipulate our minds. Again, these are meant to be, these algorithms, especially you look at TikTok as a new platform over the last 6 months to a year, 2 years. TikTok is incredibly addictive. They've done something incredible with their algorithm to be able to train the system to know what you want, what you're looking at, and what you want next. And as you swipe, you go down an incredible rabbit hole of like, ooh, that's neat, that's neat. When I was on it, I'm off of it right now, but when I was on it, it was like, sports clips, and it's baseball and football and golf clips and all these different things and I'm like, boom, boom, it's incredibly addictive. I think Instagram with Reels is trying to do the same thing. So overarchingly what I'm saying is the documentary is great education. It will teach you what's going on with the big tech firms, of kind of what they're doing to make profit and what they're doing to keep your attention and keep you on the platforms. They're also instruments for good, and they can be instruments for good, but they have over the past few years increasingly been instruments of evil, not not because the people there are evil. It's the people who use the platforms are using them for evil. But it's your choice. It's how you use the platform. It's how you consume social media, how your family consumes social media. That is what will do. It's up to you. It's your choice. You can use it for good, and you can use it as a producer, and you can use it on a limited basis only when you need it, or you can become addicted and need to have it. I do think we need to get back to nature, and we need to get back to conversations, and there's so much good in that. And there's so much good when we just talk to each other, because we can work out so many different divisive issues. So give it a watch if you haven't watched it. If you're in marketing, and you probably need to see it because you need to know the tools that you're working with, but at the same time, know that there are choices, and know that we as brands, I work for a brand, and we can use it for good, and we can use it for information that's useful, and we can use it for the positive, for customer service, for all these different things that are reasons to use it and to use it for good. And I think all in all, I think we will get through this time of minimal regulation on the social media companies, and we'll get to a better day where we do see that these are the instruments that they were intended to be, which is instruments of good, and we can get to that point. I am hopeful. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great week. If you need anything, as always, hit me up on social at Drew Bedard on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm on Facebook as well, of course, as I talk about all these social media platforms. Or if you'd like to just have a regular old conversation, we can work that out too over Zoom or FaceTime or whatever that is, or you can hit me on Gmail at drewbedard@gmail.com if you have a question. Hope you have a great day. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to the Marketing That Works podcast. To find out more and to get the show notes and everything that's going on, go to marketstreet.media. That's where I house this wonderful podcast on the Market Street Media Podcast Network. So thanks, check it out, and we'll see you on the next episode.